Welcome everyone to episode 111 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host Triple J. Joining me is my co-host Dr. Games 101.
Ho, 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 people! How's everyone doing?
Yes, and we're here to do what we do every 2 weeks. That's talk about the latest news in video gaming. Are you ready to start?
Most certainly am, my friend.
Okay, let's start with the first story for tonight then. How Microsoft decides when Xbox games come to PlayStation. Microsoft reiterates that it makes decisions about exclusivity of a game-by-game basis. The newest big Xbox exclusive game, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, is officially available for everyone on December 9th. If you own an Xbox or PC or subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate, the adventure game doesn't come to PlayStation 5 until spring of 2025. In a new interview, Xbox President of Game Content and Studios, Matt Booty, elaborated on Microsoft's decision-making process when it comes to bringing Xbox games to rival platforms. They put a number in a hat. They put like the numbers in a jumbler, and I bet when whatever number they pull out, they say in that many months we'll bring it to our rivals. We are very much making the exclusivity and windowing decisions on a game-by-game basis, Booty told Variety, echoing comments he and other Xbox executives have made before. Booty went on to say that each of Microsoft's numerous studios are in a little bit of a different position, but he didn't elaborate about what this means as it relates to exclusivity. Beyond that, his decision on spacing, when a game might come to a rival platform after Xbox, needs to also factor in production timelines, Booty said. We want to make sure there is a great experience for our Xbox players, and then the gap between when it becomes available on PlayStation is as much a production decision as it is anything else. This is a game that was in production before we acquired Bethesda, even, Booty said. Microsoft announced it would acquire ZeniMax, the parent company of Machine Game Studio owner Bethesda, in 2020. The deal officially closed in 2021. After Microsoft acquired ZeniMax, it acknowledged that making some of Bethesda's games exclusive to Xbox, including Starfield and The Great Circle, would lead to millions of lost game sales. Microsoft said at the time that it would aim to make that up with Game Pass signups and hardware sales. In February of 2024, Microsoft disclosed that Game Pass had reached 34 million members, but the company hasn't revealed a new figure since. We do know that the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 led to a boost in subscribers, though. As for Xbox hardware sales, U.S. video game industry research company Circana reported that Xbox Series X and S sales dropped 18% in October of 2024 compared to October of 2023. PS5 and Switch sales in the U.S. were down too. The Great Circle is coming to PS5 in spring 2025, but Microsoft has yet to reveal a specific release date of any other details pertaining to the PlayStation edition of the game. For more, be sure to read GameSpot's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle review and consult our guides hub to hit the ground running. Some of Microsoft's other games that have landed on PlayStation and Switch, in some cases in the past year, have included Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Pentiment, and Hi-Fi Rush. Microsoft's Minecraft series, meanwhile, has been on PlayStation and Switch for years. So there's no comments. So what do you think of them claiming, and I'm not really sure I believe them, saying that they decide what games come to PlayStation and Switch on a game-by-game basis?
I mean, Microsoft themselves, they're a $3 trillion company for quite some time now, and they'll need Xbox brand itself to, sell Xbox games per se. But, excuse me, especially these last couple of years now. And they've been promoting themselves to be like an Xbox Anywhere type of company now, or at least the brand itself of Xbox. Now, they get to decide literally, in my perspective, though, based on my marketing classes and business mathematics classes and all, they can decide, if they want to sell their IPs or their exclusives to Sony PlayStation, which they're usually been doing for quite some time now. Depends on, especially on Tomb Raider and stuff like that for back in 2018 and all. So I guess you could say they have that ability to do so. What decide what games should be exclusive, what games should not be, should be put on the PlayStation. If not, Nintendo Switch themselves as well. So it's not surprised me that they act like this now for quite some time now. So it's it's what it is now. And now that Microsoft dominates the computer market, they don't really need to super focus on the console market itself per se. So it's all in their hands. That depends on what they want. Depends on supply and demand. But they know that for how many months now, this year I'm hearing thanks to Dreamcast guy. And I'm just here just the other day or two saying that Microsoft Xbox brand has been worse on record. Not selling enough consoles, not selling enough games, even though they had Indiana Jones that came out last week or two, selling average, amount of copies. But that's about it, really. So it's kind of iffy this year so far for Microsoft.
Yeah. The whole problem is, when they started doing this, like with Sea of Thieves, I'm just going to use that as their example.
Uh huh.
No, they no you were not going to get any stragglers who had an Xbox to buy Sea of Thieves. If they hadn't bought it yet, they weren't going to buy it. That's why bringing it to PlayStation and Switch was a good idea. Well, I don't know if they bought it to Switch, but bringing it to PlayStation at least was a good idea. Here, you not even keeping Indiana Jones for as a timed exclusive as long as it is. Now I get it. Even if you buy Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on PlayStation, uh, you're still going to get a cut of that sale. But
Oh yeah.
but you're also sacrificing your brand just to say, well, we're going to make money regardless what console they buy it from. Well, if you really care about the Xbox to still have games, to still have a for games to be released on first, you can't just say, oh well, whoever buys this first party game, whoever buys it will get whatever system you buy it for will get a cut regardless what system they buy it for. That's very short sighted in keeping a console financially healthy. But I mean, like I said, you should have. I mean, at least keep it a year exclusive, or at least wait till what I would have done. To be honest, wait till sales had just dried up, and then bring it to PlayStation and Switch, because that way you could say any money you make from those sales you wouldn't have made anyway, because you tried to get it sold on Xbox, and you sold as many copies as you could on Xbox.
Yeah, but my friend Triple J, it's inevitable. Like the console
I'm not.
wars or the console exclusivity system is kind of like played out. It's been, you know, pretty much it's irrelevant in today's time now. Now it's about
Well,
yeah.
it's not the console wars. It's just keeping your own console financially healthy before you worry about others. If you're going to get a cut from PlayStation and Switch sales, okay, that's great of your game being sold on theirs, but how does that help your console? I mean, you heard the slogans. If Xbox has a great game, it's going to come to PlayStation. So why buy an Xbox now? When people are saying that about your console, that's not good.
Remember, I think I mentioned it just like a minute or two ago. If I remember correctly, it's a world of cluster fuck. Excuse my language, but cluster fuckery now. Everyone's connected to everyone, and you know the sales. Even though the sales are not doing so well on the Xbox, it will do well on PlayStation most likely as well. So, in other words, the Microsoft themselves as a company oversight Xbox obviously, and they don't really need to make millions upon millions of dollars in sales on the Xbox alone. So why not just take it to Sony? Why not just take it to hell, even retro consoles, if something like
Well,
that,
that
also of retro companies that do the small operations of certain
if
console
they can
driven.
get it to one, I mean,
I mean, it's kind of. I saw that. I know it sounds weird, but I saw Cyberpunk 2077 in PlayStation One graphics. I saved it. I think I shared with you the other months. This months ago, I shared with you on Facebook Triple J. It was pretty cool. I saw that. So you never know, if they
They
can
could,
retrofit it.
they could. I mean, it really depends on the game. Um, they could really bring any game to retro. It just depends how much stuff would be like in the background. Say, um,
And the traffic
if
of the
if
streets
it
and all.
comes to a weaker system. I'm not saying it can't be done, although I don't think you would make a lot of money making making your games retro.
Yeah, I know
And
that sounds weird. It's
and
called.
please don't touch that market. We don't need shovelware coming to retro systems. Um, but yeah, I'm just saying, like I said, I'm not saying console wars. I'm just saying wait until the sales have dried up on your system before you bring it somewhere. Then you can get the money from people who buy it for PlayStation or Switch or whatever competitor that it does end up on. But wait until you've gotten all the sales that you would have gotten through Xbox. That's just me. Um, but
But these
I'm,
days,
I'm,
my
I'm
friend,
guessing I'm guessing you disagree with that.
I wasn't. I disagree. I'm just looking at it from the market trends as well, and some YouTubers around our age group. Well, not some, but a good one or two of them will say, the market. I mean, the people themselves. It's just like in the four P's of marketing, or now the fifth P is people. People decided that they want everything on everything now, or at least the game when it comes to video games, they want on every console or every device unknown to man or some to man. I mean, look at what happened with what's that called? Fortnite, at least for that one example. It's on everything: Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, mobile. Even it's crazy, and it's still making millions of dollars every year easily in microtransactions of V-Bucks and stuff like that alone. So as long as there's a market for it, they're gonna put it there, and that's what's going on for less since Fortnite time, which is 2017, 2018. You know. I mean, look at
But
the Tomb Raider games again, like the Tomb Raider. What's the Rise of Tomb Raider, and then as well as the third Tomb Raider game came out in 2018. Like I mentioned the other podcast episode. That was time exclusive. I think it was to um, from Xbox to PlayStation. So yeah, I mean anything's possible now in 2024 now, and by 2025 we're gonna have how many games come out for that year? What's called the South of Midnight. It's called. That's the one that looks like it's eye appealing to me. That's based on Southern culture and stuff like Southern United States culture, and that's why I read research on the matter. So that's pretty cool to see that. Maybe that's going to be exclusive for a while, and then move it to the PlayStation. It all depends on how like you said, successful it is, but it is what it is right now, my friend, and there's no turning back.
yep. So anyway, that is they say it's a game by game basis. I guess we'll see um, if this is a good idea, bringing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle to PlayStation only 4 months after it comes out on Xbox. Um, but we'll see if that turns out to be a good uh, thing financially for Xbox and Microsoft. Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
Indeed. Oh yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Okay. Next, Life is Strange double exposure developer Deck 9 announces its second round of layoffs in 2024. The studio cites the challenging times many companies in our industry are currently facing. After laying off 20% of its staff early in 2024, Life is Strange double exposure studio Deck 9 has announced that it's been hit with more layoffs to end the year. In a statement posted on X/Twitter, Deck 9 Games CEO Mark Lyons wrote they'd have to say goodbye to some of our talented team members, but didn't specify how many would be affected by the cuts. Was an extremely difficult decision and reflects the challenging times many companies in our industry are currently facing, Lyons wrote. We are extremely grateful to every individual who has dedicated their hard work, passion, and commitment to making transformative entertainment with us. Deck 9, which is also behind Life is Strange entries Before the Storm and True Colors, as well as The Expanse, a Telltale series, released double exposure to positive reviews. IGN gave it 9 out of 10 at the end of October. The studio, however, has been plagued with issues before today's layoffs earlier this year, was that we at IGN ran an expensive report about its internal struggles with toxicity, hate speech, crunch, and more. Deck 9 announced the last round of layoffs in February. Prior to these layoffs, IGN understood the studio employed roughly between 100 and 130 staffers. It's unclear how many remain after the two rounds of layoffs this year. Deck 9 laid off around 30 employees in May of 2023 as well. The original developer of Life is Strange, Don't Nod, also announced layoffs in October after canceling two in development projects and a reorganization. Today's Deck 9 announcement is unfortunately only the latest layoff news to hit the games industry as the year wraps up. Earlier, Ubisoft revealed that it would be shutting down two production studios and laying off 277 employees in the process. So let's go to comments. Arms Bend goes, has anyone else noticed all these layoffs are blamed on the industry or business conditions? None of these guys are taking ownership of their own failures, instead blaming it on everything else besides the actual case. As long as they insist on blaming outside forces, they will continue to fail until they close shop. The sooner the better, I say. Make room for people who can discover what people want and deliver that. Um, WTG Rockshot goes, I would love to play Life is Strange Double Exposure. However, there is no physical PS4 version or physical Switch version. So I refuse to buy the it's disappointing to hear they are laying off more staff, but such is life. And TP Jesus goes, not trying to be an a-hole, but you got to jump to current gen at some point. We're 4 years in and seeing less cross-gen games along with even less physical copies coming to PS4. Even cross-gen remasters like Sonic and Shadows are digital only on PS4. I expect this to be the more until support completely dies out, which is probably sooner than later. So what do you think of Deck 9 laying off people,
Again for the
even though they
second
didn't say how
time.
much?
I mean, Double Exposure. It was called Life is Just Double Exposure. It didn't come out right yet, right? Or it's about to
It
this
came
year.
out. It came out in Halloween.
Oh, Halloween. Oh, wow. Time flies. I thought it'd be like I think a month ago, but okay. Wow, and the sales are not so bad, right? Like they sold a good amount of copies, though. If you know, if
They
you're aware.
didn't say why they were releasing people other than giving that other than giving office talk reason. It's just fortunate we have to do this. But I'll see if I could pull up Life is Strange double exposure sales figures.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that every turn when a game comes out, the company behind creating that game just goes out of business out of nowhere, and especially if they do good sales like High Five Rush, for example, that came out back on what's his Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. That's they had good sales from last year, if I recall correctly. And they still and the company behind that game just got shut down. Like I don't get these CEOs and executives. They just like they always raking in candy all as much as possible, and then even have to shut down the company for the sake of it. It's unethical, you know.
Right. Okay. So let me go to its Wikipedia page, and I can see if. But it's actually some people are saying sales figures are hard to find. So um,
Probably too soon. It was kind of strange. It was only been 2 months after it came out, so it should have at least about 100,000 copies sold, maybe say 5,000.
then yeah, but I'm not finding anything about. Uh, there's nothing about sales figures.
Oh man, I know all these copies. That'd be nice to see that.
Let's see. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it sucks though that they haven't at least shared the number of copies they sold because now everything is digital. Like most people can just buy from the stores at the PlayStation Store and the Xbox Store, so they should be able to allocate the data and then give it to the public. Share with the public and all.
Uh, yeah, I mean, some people. How many copies did Well, that's Life is Strange from 2015. That's not what we're looking for.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And Life is Strange as a whole, the actual franchise or the story setting of the matter, it's not so bad, you know. But you have to be like very deeply involved with the story by just have your uninformed attention. You know, it's good. You know, it's pretty intense. When I saw the first episode of Life is Strange 1, so I know I should still play more
it'd
of
be
it,
nice
but
if you get to
still,
episode 2 of Life is Strange 1.
what's that?
It would be nice if you got to episode 2 of Life is Strange
I know.
1.
I'll make time for it though. It's my Apex game, and I know it's screwing things up. And Call of Duty as well. The Black Ops 6 game is not that bad. That Omni move is pretty good, my friend. You should try playing Black Ops 6 if you have the Game Pass.
Okay, so basically, I'm at. I did find some sales figures on Gamealytic. Copies sold. It says between. Okay, that's a big range. Hold on.
Like 50,000 to 100,000.
They said, well, it's the range was between 58.7 thousand and 128.3 thousand.
I was kind of
That's
right
in
there.
parentheses. That's in parentheses. Outside parentheses is 93,500. So let's just say 93,500 copies sold.
That's not so bad.
And they made about $4.1 million just on the base game, not counting anything like DLC that's probably coming out later.
Or the additional episodes that incrementally come out over one side at a time.
Yeah, so I mean, and let's see, copies sold in the last 7 days 6,400.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
So
not so bad. They good. They did good with the Life is Strange double exposure. Then it may not be
yeah,
the most successful like that of say Spider Man too, but it's
well,
something.
you knew it wasn't going to do Spider-Man numbers. I
I
would have
know.
been shocked. I would have been shocked if Life is Strange, if any Life is Strange game does Spider-Man numbers. And we're talking about a good Spider-Man game. Don't don't have a Spider-Man 3 game bomb and then say, "Hey, Life is Strange did better than that." Yeah, Spider-Man is that new Spider-Man game you're comparing it to bomb.
Yes, I've been a little bit high for 2 days ago, so excuse me if I'm still feeling the good effects of the matter. It's
Hey,
Christmas, so
Life is Strange, but sold better than Spider-Man and the Sinister Six on Game Boy. And so, I mean, I would be
I'm trying to be
shocked.
as optimistic as possible, you know.
I would, like I said, as much as I love the Life is Strange series, well, most of them, like I said, I had no interest in 2 when I found out it was 2 completely different characters that had nothing to do with Max and Chloe. Although I probably should give it a chance. I would still be shocked if any game that from Life is Strange was able to do something like Spider-Man, like either of Spider-Man games on PS5.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's how I'm overdoing that. I like to be yes. I mean, because in my lifetime of being a gamer, you know, I've always been negative on many things because of the all the influence of the blood and violence and sex and games and all. Nah, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? But you know what I mean?
No, I
Like
don't
where
know.
it's like
Go ahead.
pessimism is my middle name in my SBE and being a person my whole life as just gaming and living life and all. So I saw so that, you know what? Let me give Life is Strange a break. You know, give them good sales, and I was right, at least partially speaking. So
So, my feeling, it sucks, but also it's more the same. Because you really can't say it's because with how we started the year of 2024 with people being released from studios left and right.
oh yeah,
We ended 2023 that way. So it's really, I mean, you could have the next, talking about Spider-Man, you could have the next Spider-Man 2 for PS5 on your hands. It seems like even after that game sells, you're still going to hear about layoffs. So really, people who run these studios need to do their job and figure out why they need to lay off these people. Life is Strange Double Exposure seems to have at least sold well. I mean to sell near about 93,000 copies in 2 months.
Yeah.
That's or less than 2 months. That's not bad.
Oh yeah. I was right then. My instincts were telling me about the matter. It was right. All right. But here's the thing, though. I mean, you gotta understand too. It's 2024. AI is starting to greatly improve over the last 5 years now. So companies are making their way to automate themselves through AI, especially in gaming. Make sure that the copy paste Harrison Ford's voiceover for Han Solo in Star Wars and or Indiana Jones, like the Great Circle. Because I was wondering to myself why, when I saw the trailer back in the summertime when Jeff Keighley had that event going on, showing that Indiana Jones trailer, that Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones voiceover sounds very dull and uninspired. It was like AI generated most likely. So that's what they're going to be doing for the next how many years? For the next how many years now? It sucks. It seems that way too. Don't you think, Triple J?
Yeah. Well, I don't. Even if they're going in the direction of AI which is why they're laying people off, at least have the balls to say that's why you're going in the direction of AI, because you can save face for a little while, but when those people that get laid off, because let's just say that's the reason for any studio's layoffs, because they're going with AI because it's cheaper in the long run. You don't think the public's eventually going to find out when a disgruntled worker explains why he was let go from a studio?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna blow the lid if he was replaced by AI.
Everyone has Twitter these days, so it's one tweet and send
Yeah,
it to like 25 of your friends. That 25 friends going to send it to their 50, and 50 to 100, and it multiplies.
exactly. So yeah, So I mean, it sucks, but Life is Strange Double Exposure at least seems to be doing decent in sales.
Yeah, there's no excuses this time for this studio to just lay off their
Yeah,
workers, even if it is only for a few people, at a time.
right. So anything else to add, or ready to move on?
We can move on.
Okay. Next, that's Call of Duty Black Ops 6 players discover game-ending nuke Easter egg. Troll friends by nuking a Black Ops 6 map without going on any impressive kill streaks. Call of Duty players have discovered a match-ending nuke Easter egg on one of Black Ops 6's multiplayer maps. This is a secret nuke that doesn't require an impressive 25 kill streak to unlock, but it still won't be a cakewalk to pull off. Don't worry about nukes ruining all your matches either, as this Easter egg is seemingly only available in private matches. Black Ops 6's Warhead multiplayer map is designed to be a test site similar to the fan-favorite Nuketown map, but this variant shows the buildings and cars of Nuketown dumped in the Nevada desert and filled with sand. The map also contains a giant warhead that can be used for cover. Now players have discovered that if they dump enough bullets into the warhead, it will explode and end the match. As shown in the video clip shared by M3RK Music, with one as instead of I in music, the warhead takes tons of ammo to detonate. Additionally, detonating the nuke results in a match loss for all players. Those loading into a private match to try this out with friends will want to make sure they build a class with enough ammo. Using the overkill wild card should help, and picking weapons with high ammo counts like light machine guns is also a smart choice. If you're looking for the best weapon loadouts to use in Call of Duty, we have recommended weapon builds for multiplayer and Warzone. Season 1 Reloaded recently added new multiplayer maps like Merry Mayhem Holiday Event and Citadel des Morts map for zombies. And there's no comments. So, what do you think about this nuke in Black Ops 6?
Uh, well, it's a parody. GTA 6, a parody. Wow, that's okay.
Black Ops 6. Did you say GTA 6?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at our notes here that you sent to me that about the GTA 6
Oh,
parody. Granted, Aegis 6, and I was like, okay,
no,
that's
we're let's see.
sorry about that,
We're
guys.
Yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 players discover game-ending nuke Easter egg.
Okay, now I see. Okay, okay. I'm sorry about that, guy. So yeah, I did play Black Ops 6 the other day, of course, and I see that they updated the Nuketown map as well, where it was all blown up to bits and it was all sandy and shit. So that's I played that kind of map a couple of times in Black Ops 6. So it's like similar to that matter, or what you've been explaining for the past couple of minutes.
It's basically a nuke, but it's an Easter egg. But it's on one map. It's only available in private matches, and they basically, and if you make it explode, it ends the match.
Hmm. Because I remember correctly, when I played the Black Ops One back in how many years back in 2016, when you when either side loses or wins the match or the match ends, the nuclear bomb blows off and in Nuketown, and that's like during the time of the 1960s and all. So that was based during the test sites they were doing back in Nevada and other underground testing based on what the government disclosures were back how many years back. So if you want to be that political with the matter or statistical, so it's that's what I'm. Especially what Robin Williams mentioned his comedy skits or his comedy standards. He'd be like, Pakistan has the bomb, Russia has the bomb. We got many bombs. We don't know where they are. I'm sorry, man. I'm starting to sound political at the moment, but that it's pretty interesting to see that having that Easter egg in the Black Ops 6, but it has to be in a private match. It can't be public matchmaking.
No, it's only available in private matches on a specific map.
Oh wow, that's like gotta be a hardcore player for that stuff. Cause I will
Yeah,
admit this, guys. I am not a huge Call of Duty player, especially in Black Ops games. I like the story mode of the Black Ops series in recent time. Just Cold War, especially. I'd like all the Black Ops to begin with, but especially in Cold War, when they start talking more about, with that agent, talking to Gerald Griffin in that promo back in 2019, 2020, before the game was released in 2020, of course, of Cold War. So that was pretty interesting to see something like that. The Yuri Bezmenov is his name, yeah. Talk about how, people have been degraded and demoralized and subjugate the people and stuff like that. So that kind of catch my eye there. I was like, wait a second. That's what my teachers told me. At least one teacher told me many years ago about the matter before all this was disclosed. So it's pretty cool that Black Ops series is still continuing going on into Black Ops 6 now. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like in the future for the Black Ops sub-series of Call of Duty. So, yeah.
yeah. So basically, yeah, this is a cool Easter egg. Um, but if keep in mind, if the nuke explodes, it's game over for everyone. Um, so it's gonna end. It's gonna end the match, but you don't have to get a. Like they said, the difference is you don't have to go on an impressive kill streak to unlock it. But
Right.
even then, it's not going to be completely easy. But if you do want to try it out, if you have Black Ops 6 and you want to try to find it for yourself, just go to, I think they said it was Nuketown, and you have to play a private match.
Okay.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
You move on now.
All right. When I was opening all the articles at once, I did skip the Grand Theft Auto 6 one, so I'm going to go back to that one now. GTA 6 parody, Grand Theft Ages 6, pops up on PS Store. I don't know what happened to the article, but
Must have got revoked or removed or something in the last minute.
yeah. All right, well, we'll just continue with planned programming.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, seasonal updates ending with offline mode coming soon. This game will still be playable online. Warner Brothers Games has announced that Season 4 will be the last seasonal update for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. An offline mode will also be added as part of the final season. Season 4 will start with Episode 7 on December 10th and conclude with Episode 8 on January 14, 2025. The offline mode will let players experience the game's campaign and seasonal story mission content without an internet connection. However, players will have to be online in order to make progress on battle passes, buy things from the in-game store, and access leaderboards. Warner Brothers game also clarified that the studio has no plans to shut down the online servers for the game or admit failure, and that the in-game currency Luthicom or coin can still be purchased after season 4. The final season sees Deathstroke joining the game as a playable character as he teams up with the Suicide Squad to take down Brainiac. Back in May, Warner Brothers Discovery said that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was a disappointing release and underperformed financially, leading to a $200 million shortfall. However, the company will continue to focus on core franchises with more live service, mobile, and free-to-play games, so they learn nothing.
Hmm.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is reportedly receiving bare-bones support from developer Rocksteady Studios and moving on to new projects such as a director's cut version of Hogwarts Legacy. In GameSpot's review of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, we said Rocksteady's first game in nearly a decade can't shake the superhero as a service genre's ubiquitous feeling that exists to keep players mindlessly engaged. And there's no comments on this. So, what do you think of basically putting Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League on life support?
It's inevitable. It seems that way for quite some time now. And then it was successful of its release, but it was had bad reviews and YouTube gamers like that of Angry Joe and other YouTubers were like complaining the crap out of it and saying that the progression system is tedious and ill convincing. It's like a travesty, and also how well they screwed up the killing off the characters like Batman and Poison Ivy and all. Or Poison Ivy was necessarily not killed per se, but transformed into a child in a sense through reincarnation. But whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like okay, that's something new. So at this rate, though, also if I recall correctly, even based off the movies as well as games at the same time, this may be the last year of the DC universe versus movie and TV collaboration style type of entertainment. Because next year, 2025, is going to come with that Superman reboot. So, and I saw the trailer of it too. It wasn't so bad. So hopefully they'll restart from scratch, rebrand DC, and the next DC game that came out after this new Superman movie comes out next year, it'll be way better than Suicide Squad. Hopefully, unfortunately, I'm not a big, huge comic book fan of sorts. I used to be when I was younger. My dad had a good, small time comic books. They weren't like big like Superman or Batman. He's like your Fishman, Shark Boy, like some weird ass shit. Like I was thinking to myself, why did my dad buy these comic books, not the other ones? It's kind of weird. So I threw them out on accident, not accidentally, but I intentionally threw them out. And I regretted it months later. I was like excuse my language, but I was like 13, 14 when I threw them out, or at least years after I threw them out since like 2000, 2001, give or take. So, I kind of regret it because I can show proof for the matter why I threw out. But other than that, I used to be a big comic book fan thanks to my dad and all, but I lost interest over time because of the quality of the comics were getting worse. As early as 2000, what's it, late 2000s or early 2010s, I hear from on YouTubers that saying, oh, guys like some guy heels versus babyface. Like these guys were complaining that the comic book industry was turned into trash. It's baffling. It's disrespectful too because we grew up on these games. These guys I mentioned and myself too. X-Men and fucking Flash and the Justice League and all. It was a big thing as throughout the 90s into the mid 2000s. It's just a travesty that it turns to crap or this political correct nonsense. It's bullshit. You know,
Yeah.
I wish that the people that were involved in maintaining these IPs were respected more, but the new generation took over, and most of them are these trust fund babies. No offense to them, they're like these spoiled brats. That's what I found out about. So and they've ruined other IPs like Snow White and fucking what's the other ones I could think of? Not Spider-Man yet. They haven't fucked it up yet. So Marvel and all they maintain something with the Marvel movies at least that. So I give them credit. But other IP stuff like that they messed up on. So it's They try to do it on purpose. This cultural Marxism is called, based upon what
Yeah,
I heard about from G. Edward Griffin, the same guy I talked about with Yuri Bezmov and all with the interview back in the '80s. So these guys been working at that, exposing this shit, saying that hey, this was going to happen, and we didn't believe them, and now IPs are fucked up for the last 7 years now. Ghostbusters and you name it. It sucks. So hopefully they'll initiate it better next year. Hopefully, so.
yeah. Well, what I have to say is, you basically said it. It's cultural Marxism. They were trying to make something like this game culturally acceptable. Um, they wanted to, and they were trying to make messed up shit culturally acceptable. And as you can see, as people spoke with this sales of this video game, as people spoke with their vote uh, in the presidential election, people don't want this shit. Um, I did see Angry Joe's review of this game. How he said it was tedious. Basically, you just do the same kind of missions over and over again, fighting purple blobs. Wow. You couldn't even put police officers in there. You had to make the enemies purple blobs. Wonderful. Um, so I mean, it's almost like a no-brainer that this game was going to fail. The more we found out about it, um, and I really guess we should be surprised with Rocksteady's whoever's making the decisions not wanting to let this game die the death that it deserves. Because how many people are really gonna still play it? And I mean, Marvel's Avengers was the laughing stock before this game came out, and this game couldn't even reach Marvel's Avengers numbers. It couldn't even reach half, and that's when it first came out.
Even if it was slightly better as released than Suicide Squad, if not the same type of.
Yeah, so I mean, it's it's not it's almost it's no surprise that this game, what happened. Like I said, we knew when we saw the finished product, we were like glad we didn't spend our money on this. And I mean, they could make it offline mode, but how many people are really going to care to play this game offline?
Especially 20 years from now.
20 years from now, try 20 weeks from now.
20 weeks. That's even pathetic. But you might
20,
get some
20 years from
you might
now.
get some digital architectures, what do you call it, or archaeologists, digital archaeologists, in like the year 2500 to dig up the servers of Suicide Squad and play that through their technical devices of that time, and that's about it. But not now, like you said, in 20 weeks.
So I mean, yeah, wonderful. They at least finished their roadmap, but I mean, that we there was questions after like the first season where they were like, is Rocksteady even going to see value in finishing the roadmap that they laid out for its first 4 seasons? And I think Rocksteady is just hoping that somehow people will still want to play the game offline or play online if they want to get in-game currency or battle passes or access leaderboards. But Rocksteady, there's no one cares.
Yeah. Let's go wait till 2500.
I don't know how else any players can say it. They don't care about this game. They could care less about your in-game currency. They could care less about your battle pass. They could for this game. They could care less about leaderboards for this game. People want this game to go back into the abyss, never to be seen or heard from again. Let it go.
I mean, I know when these games are successful, the live service games are better, like Apex Legends and what's called what's that game called? Fucking Fortnite. Like they're still in service for how many years now, selling their currencies and their poses
But
and dance and stuff like that. So that that's their prime. But
yeah,
Suicide Squad is a copycat at the matter. That's their problem. So
yeah, what I was gonna say is when you brought up Fortnite and Apex Legends, and I think PUBG, you can throw that in there. Um, those games were the original. Those games have a track record of actually being fun to play. Um, so yeah, people like I said, uh, no one cares about battle passes for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, as much as Rocksteady wants to tell themselves that people do care. No one cares about the in-game currency for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. No one cares about leaderboards for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Um, and honestly, this game was basically a response to Fortnite, Apex Legends, and PUBG, saying, hey, we can have this one game go and keep getting money coming in through microtransactions and battle passes and etc. And then they thought this was going to be the game that everyone was going to keep sinking money into.
mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe, and there's only so many live services that people can buy that can afford money into on a consistent basis. You can't make every game live service and think every single one of them is going to be a success. Because if you just make a clone, people are going to stick with the original. Your game has to do better than what other games in the past have done. If you can't do it, just don't make it live service. You want to extend the life of a game? DLC. Do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's how you keep it. If you want to keep microtransactions for like cosmetic things, maybe make extra outfits for Harley Quinn and even the DLC characters like Joker, like I don't know. Well, let me think. Joker really didn't have any alternate outfits that I think about it, but you could have made alternate outfits for the characters. You could, even if it was a color swap. You could have made DLC, more story, but you didn't even tell a story that people wanted to see. Like I said, what you should have done was basically the Suicide Squad Suicide Squad taking on the superheroes from the Injustice series. So Superman had gone completely evil and terrorizing public, and most people except Batman, and most people, including Batman, had bought into Superman's craziness, like is a possible ending in Injustice 2. So basically, you should have had Batman in his evil outfit be in that game. You should have had Superman. It looked like he was the evil Superman from Injustice 2 in the first trailer for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. You should have had Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, all those superheroes being themselves, but being their evil counterparts, like you saw in Injustice, and have that take on the Suicide Squad. Because, like I said, you could have played then with the players' minds, like, are you really are you evil, or are you really on the good side this time, even though you're playing as evil characters, aka the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
But I think that would have been. But instead of making a game like that, they wanted to make a political statement, a cultural statement, and no one's going to care. As you saw, it didn't work.
Oh yeah.
But if Rocksteady wants to lose even more money and have this be on their record as the only thing they've done over the last decade, then let them.
Mm-hmm.
And if Rocksteady wants to drive itself out of business because they refuse that people don't want their shit that they're serving. Well, you know what? Maybe Rocksteady has outlived its usefulness as a game developer.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
We can move on.
All right. Next. PlayStation Plus game catalog additions for December 2024 revealed. Sonic Frontiers, Forspoken, and more. Sony has revealed the full PlayStation Plus games catalog editions for December 2024, which include Sonic Frontiers, Forspoken, and more. Announced on the PlayStation blog, a total of 12 games are joining the library, 11 on the PlayStation Plus Extra tier, and 1 on the PlayStation Plus Premium tier through a PSVR 2 offering. They're available December 17th, which was 4 days ago. Through the monthly offerings, usually include a handful of classic games too, Sony has already released Jak and Daxter, The Precursor Legacy, Sly 2, Band of Thieves, and Sly 3, Honor Among Thieves this month. It did so as part of the 30th anniversary celebrations, though didn't mention they'd replace the usual releases. So here's the full list. Sonic Frontiers for PS4 and PS5, Forspoken for PS5, Rabbids Party of Legends for PS4, WRC Generations for PS4 and PS5, FIST Forged in Shadow Touch for PS4 and PS5, Jurassic World Evolution 2 for PS4 and PS5, Coffee Talk for PS4 and PS5, Coffee Talk Episode 2, Hibiscus and Butterfly for PS4 and PS5, A Space for the Unbound for PS4 and PS5, PHOGS for PS4, Biped for PS4 and PS5, and Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge for PSVR 2. Sonic Frontiers is the latest lasted game from the Blue Blur and includes a franchise-first open-zone gaming experience. Sonic Frontiers is an ambitious open-world adventure that mostly succeeds at mixing up the Sonic formula, even when some of its ideas fall flat, IGN said in their 7 out of 10 review. Forspoken. A PlayStation 5 exclusive, Forspoken arrived with good promises of an open world full of magic but fell flat on release due to a lackluster story, gameplay, and performance. Forspoken's flashy combat and parkour can be fun, but they aren't enough to make its cliche story and bare-bones open world very interesting to explore, IGN said in their 6 out of 10 review. Just in time for the holidays, party games Rabbids Party of Legends brings mayhem to PlayStation through 4-player local multiplayer. Embark on a legendary journey filled with colorful characters with the Rabbids in the uproarious party game, reads the synopsis. Another entry in the WRC racing series, WRC Generations, is promised to be an authentic and comprehensive rally racing simulation, giving players the chance to drive powerful cars in the most famous rallies of all time. It earned an 8 out of 10 in IGN's review, in which we said with its absolute mountain of rally locations, WRC Generations is commonly generous package for grave groupies, asphalt addicts, and mudslinging maniacs alike. FIST, Forged in Shadow Torch, is described as a diesel punk exploratory platformer where players must fight through intense combat sequences, overcome challenging puzzles, and interact with an anthropomorphic cast of vibrant characters. When managing zoos becomes too tiresome, players can turn up the intensity by putting some dinosaurs on show. Jurassic World Evolution 2 allows just that, dinosaur park management simulation where players take charge of their own Jurassic World park. While park management and customization aspects are a bit shallow, Jurassic World Evolution 2 has tons of excellent dinosaurs and exciting ways to interact with them, IGN said in their 7 out of 10 review. Now a game me and I know Dr. Games 101 played, Coffee Talk.
Oh, yeah.
If that's too much, players also have the option for something cooler. As the barista in late-night coffee shop, Coffee Talk offers players friendly conversation and late-night warm drinks as the colorful and fantastical inhabitants of alternative Seattle, including elves, aliens, and orcs, its synopsis reads. Fancy a double shot? Dust off your coffee machine and prepare your warmest smile to meet your favorite customers again in the second episode of Coffee Talk, Hibiscus and Butterfly, a coffee brewing and heart-to-heart talking simulator. Another quieter game comes in the form of A Space for the Unbound, a 2023 game with pixel art and a heartwarming story. A Space for the Unbound is a slice of life set in the late 90s and rural Indonesia that tells a story about overcoming anxiety, depression, and the relationship between a boy and a girl with supernatural powers, its synopsis reads. What's better than one dog? A two-headed dog? Maybe. In Fox, you play as a two-headed dog called Red and Blue. Linked by a stretchy belly, you'll need to bark, bite, and bounce your way through obstacles set across the themed worlds of food, sleep, and play. More multiplayer fun comes to Biped, a co-op action-adventure game that emphasizes real-time collaboration between two players, according to its official synopsis. Guide Aku and Slia, two charming bipedal robots, through intricate paths leading to planetary beacons. Finally, virtual reality fans can, this month, enjoy Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge Enhanced Edition. IGN called it an excellent way to showcase the best features of a fancy new PlayStation VR 2. IGN said in our 7 out of 10 review, the first few hours of the story are its episode 1 and 2 bad, but then things turn around and immerse as in Star Wars greatness. So let's look at the comments. Very well, Very goes Sonic Frontiers and Forspoken. Two games I've been mildly curious about, but not enough to spend anywhere near $20 on.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty cool. I'll give them both a proper shot. Finished the Forspoken demo when it dropped, and it convinced me not to spend money on it. I was pretty sold on the trailers alone, but the voice acting throughout the demo had me cringing pretty bad. As for Sonic, I just hadn't bought a new Sonic title in over a decade. Glad I gave Sonic Generations a shot, though. Solid game. Kai the Oryx goes, my experience with Forspoken was similar, except that playing the demo for 5 minutes convinced me not to play the game, even if it was free. And One Track goes, I'll try Forspoken eventually, but honestly, I have too many great games to play that don't have much time for stuff that I only kind of want to try. So, did any of these titles interest you, even though you don't have a PlayStation?
Well, Forspoken more like Forsaken, but who's counting? But on Forsaken, I've always wanted to play for the sake of like understanding about what they're trying to do for the PS5 and all, because obviously they amped up the crap out of the graphics for the PS5 system. So I was like, let me try to one day keep it on my wish list. It's on PlayStation 5 only, if I recall correctly. But it should be on a PC soon, if I recall correctly too, right? No? You already on PC?
They didn't say it was coming to PC.
Okay, so I have to get the PS5 no matter what. So that's going to be on my wish list. Because obviously, it's... I mean, they try to do their best to make it epic. I will admit, I give them credit. But, in today's world, they're not... Most gamers are going to understand all that culture, the urban culture, from God knows when that time period was of the urban, living and stuff like that. Yes, it could go back to 1990s, early 2000s and all with the gang life and, living on the streets and all. Obviously, I do live in Queens, New York. I will admit that. Not the exact location, of course, but, back in the 80s and 90s, it was horrible at times to live in this neighborhood or within the areas of this matter in New York City. And, the culture, gang life, whatever, it's surreal to some people. Me personally, I never got involved with that stuff, so I consider to be like one of those guys to avoid trouble, avoid the everyday, struggles of that street culture, you want to call it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still hang out, talk to people on the streets or whatever, but I don't. It's all that gang mentality type of sense where you want to get the bread, rob people, all that stuff. So that main character, of course, spoken was kind of cool that they try to bring about that matter, but most people today they can't relate to that. So that's why it failed. Maybe to obviously when it comes to I think a place to think of like people who are from these areas of New York City, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Georgia, you name it. All these people, like they can inflate, but it's the wrong time to put that out there. And maybe they did. If they did it back 20 years ago, it could have worked well. Because obviously, the niche audience would definitely buy it up, most likely, if they really want to. That is, but it has to be more relatable, though. That's the problem with Forspoken. So the good on the special effects, the gameplay, I bet. It looks good in my opinion, but then the story of it is kind of like, yeah, they fucked it up, for the for a certain audience of gamers, So now Coffee Talk and Coffee Talk 2. Coffee Talk, I played the first one so far, still playing it to this day. I haven't played it in about almost 6 months now, last time I checked. And it's all right to look at a story from like a relaxed position. Like you're not really interacting with you interact with the game obviously at the same time, but not as what you're thinking of with control at all times. So you actually
Well,
watch it.
I
Yeah.
played Coffee Talk all the way through, so
Okay, that's good. Well, at least you had made time for it. But when I played Toffee Talk on the YouTube channel of mine, it was all right to watch. Most of it, obviously, they try to mix up with the today's environment, with all the political correctness and the geeky culture and shit like that, and make it all look like aesthetically and hippie. What's that? I'm not so hipster. Yeah, hipster culture, whatever. So, because obviously, in Manhattan, there are parts of Manhattan up until now. If you go to places like, say, Upper East Side or whatever, like that's kind of like what's like in the stories of Coffee Talk in a sense. Go to your local coffee barista, you buy your $10, $12 coffee, and Starbucks is one of those matters. There's other baristas out there too, obviously, but it's that kind of life there, in my opinion. Based on what I witnessed and also experienced and also was told here where I live in where I live here in New York City and all. So these two opposite games, Club's Forspoken and the Coffee Talk game, is kind of like it's their niche audiences for that matter. And Club's Forspoken kind of is horrible at relating to people on a consistent level, while Coffee Talk is consistent even though the gameplay is not all that exacerbated. So it's those games stood out to me and all. So I wanted to play Coffee Talk 2 as well one day and finish Coffee Talk 1. So that's all I got to say about the matter.
okay. Um, I played the first Coffee Talk all the way through. It was honestly, I didn't find the story that terribly interesting. I did like the coffee making part of the game because some people would say they wouldn't tell you what they wanted. They'd be like, "Give me something really light and sweet."
Yeah.
Um, so and then it would tell you if you were about to add something how light it would be, how bitter it would be, and basically you had to make your decisions from there. And that was fun. Honestly, that was the most interesting part. But the story, um, it just that was a chore to get through. I don't know. I've because other than making the coffee, there's really no choices you can make. So I kind of felt like the story was a chore when all you could do is make the coffee. Honestly, I wish the game was more about making coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think there is a mode in the original Coffee Talk where you can where you have to make different cups of coffee with different tastes, but you have a limited amount of time to do it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Coffee Talk. So I don't know if Coffee Talk 2 would interest me, or if I would feel the same way about it as I did the original Coffee Talk. The Sonic game I would love to try, but the rest of the games I had no interest in.
I understand.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
If I can say one more thing about Forspoken. Now, I'm not gonna spoil the ending. I didn't. I'm to be honest with you, I didn't see the full ending, but it's kind of like they call it the isekai experience, like in Japan. So that's what it interests me to play Forspoken as well. Even though most people out there in today's world be like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna play that crap," but to me, it's like I want to see. They try to mix the Japanese culture, the Japanese setting of that particular genre of gaming and RPG elements with urban culture and also with a little bit of magic powers, stuff like that, magical moments, stuff like that, of like you see in Disney and all. So it's that's all I have to say about the matter. But it's just something that have an open mind, guys, as a gamer, and you might see some different cool games out there. Like the other week or two, I played The Amazing Princess Sarah. I thought it was like a cheesy, horrible experience of a retro game, but it's actually pretty good, and I did a good job of playing that game and all. So it's keep an open mind, guys. You might see what's out there. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, ready to move on?
Yeah, ready to move on.
All right. We only got a few stories left, so this is another short episode.
Oh yeah.
Mafia: The Old Country trailer makes official the Game Awards debut. Summer 2025, here we come. Following a leak earlier today in which a partial trailer hit the internet, the full trailer for Mafia: The Old Country has debuted at the Game Awards 2024. The trailer shows a litany of explosions, gunshots, and knife fights, all taking place in a fictional city called San Celeste, based on Sicily in the 1900s. San Celeste was previously featured in Mafia 2 and Mafia. The Old Country is a prequel to the first game. The game will feature full audio dubbing tracks in English, French, German, Spanish, Czech, and Russian, as well as Sicilian, to maintain authenticity. The end of the trailer confirms the summer 2025 release window, along with its platforms including PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. The game's publisher is once again 2K Games, which also showed off a gameplay trailer for Borderlands 4 at the Game Awards 2024. Mafia: The Old Country is the latest game in the Mafia series, with the last two entries being 2016's Mafia 3 and 2020's Mafia Definitive Edition. Developer Hangar 13 has gone through some turbulence over the past few years, including founder Hayden Blackman stepping down, as well as a round of layoffs in 2022. Do you want to look at the trailer or just go straight to the comments?
We can watch the trailer if you like. I don't mind that.
Okay. So...
pretty good trailer. I saw it the other week or so. I think it through the Game Awards show, actually.
Okay, I didn't watch the Game Awards.
The Game Awards show is all right. You know, you don't have the Bill Clinton Rabbi guy anymore, but, you know, that was something. That was interesting 2 years back.
All right, tell me when you're ready for me to play the trailer.
Let's see here. You play it right now.
Okay. When you're ready for me. Let's see here. You play it right now. Okay.
All of the men in this room are bound by blood. This is a family. And in this family, we follow a code of honor. It is not forgiving. To betray one is to betray all. Do you wish to commit yourself, your life, to this family? I do. To become a man of honor, repeat these words. I swear my loyalty to this family. My flesh has to burn like this saint. If I do not keep my oath, welcome, Enzo.
All right, so
pretty good trailer.
Let me pause. Let me stop the trailer, and then I'll check comments. Oh, let me sort them by best. Okay, Batman 90 goes. Looks like it has nothing to do with the Mafia again, like the third game.
No, it does.
Gunny Ninja goes. Looks like you don't know anything about the Mafia.
Yeah.
Joe Collin goes, interesting, could be promising. So, how do you feel about Mafia going back to like the early 1900s?
They have to. That's where it all started. I mean, it's a good thing they started right now than like 10, 12 years ago with Mafia 1 and all. So I'm glad that they start with the 1960s, 70s, 50s Mafia and all, and then go back and continue on.
1940s. The 1940 was like Mafia 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I think Mafia 2 was like the late 40s, early 50s. So Mafia 1 probably was like the early 40s.
Right.
So,
I played Mafia 1
and then Mafia 3 was in the 60s.
Yep. And that's during the time the Black Panthers, all that stuff they call it back then, of the mainstream media and all. So, personally, myself, now based on my research of the mafia, that's good going back to the 1920s and 10s because that's where it all started. Because most of the immigrants from the 1860s till like the 1920s, they moved from the famine in Irish and parts of Europe and all, and moved to America through Ellis Island and all, and the Statue of Liberty back in during this time here in New York. So I'm glad they're going back that far, try to understand how the mafia started, where it all came from, why the people of these entities did what they did to maintain order and law, that the police can't do themselves personally. So, personally, myself, I will admit this. I don't know too much about what happened back during 1920s mafia, 1910s, and earlier. But based on what the people testify from these families, now this may sound crazy, but there's been news reports about this back in the 90s and 2000s of like guys like what's called John Gotti, and the family he served and all. He was the head honcho of one of the mobsters of these five families of New York and all. So, it was a big deal to see what we saw in the news and all about these families, breaking down in their line of work and all. So it's then also Joey D'Angelo was testifying on the radio as well through one of the radio shows. Curtis Siliwa or Silwidi. I'm sorry for pronouncing his last name.
Yeah, all of a sudden you cut out.
Yeah, we do apologize, guys. We have some technical difficulties. I guess when I start talking more about the mafia detail, it was a bad idea. but in short, basically, it's a prequel to all the mafia games that came out for the last 15 years at least. So let's hopefully, they'll end on a good note on this last mafia game, if it ever's going to be the last mafia game, and that's it.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't a big fan of Mafia 3, I have to be honest. I wanted to like it because of how much I loved the first two games, but I just couldn't make myself like it. If I ever got myself the trilogy, I would probably play it because it was part of the trilogy, but I've already beaten the second Mafia game, so it's kind of like, do I really want to get a trilogy where one-third of it's already and one-third of the trilogy I'm not sure I'd like, even if I gave it another chance. Yeah, so I mean, as going back to old Sicily of the early 1900s, I have to be honest, I never thought they were going to do that. I thought they were going to go back to I thought they were going to jump ahead to 1970 because Mafia 3 was in the 60s. I thought we were getting Mafia from the 70s with wherever the Mafia was big during the 70s. I say that because someone said, like, I remember in Game Informer when Mafia 3 was being previewed, it said Mafia 3 is taking place in the 60s, so obviously the game is taking place in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure, Mafia 4 would take place wherever the Mafia was doing business in the actual 70s, or at least one of the places they were doing business. And we can still get that down the road. San Celeste, I think that's I think they said it was featured in Mafia 2. I think that's where Vito was when he had to fight for the army. I think that's where the battle took place in the beginning of Mafia 2, if I'm not mistaken. I'm interested to see how this game does. It's gonna be weird though, because it's gonna be Red Dead Redemption 2 era, so it's gonna be mostly on horseback, or on foot, transportation wise. Guns are probably gonna be like Red Dead Redemption 2 era also. So it's gonna be different. But then again, you can't do the same thing over and over.
And that's what it's just the first ever sniper rifle that came out back during the 1870s and all. So if they could try to obviously it's going to take place in 1900s Sicily, you said, right, James? Triple J? So it's
1900s.
So
early
yeah,
1900s.
so the first sniper rifle came out as early as like the 1870s or late 60s. So that'd be nice to put that sniper rifle in there, and for like assassination attempts stuff like that. That'd be cool to see that as a gameplay and all, because that's what they did with not exactly, but just like to see all the usuals, the killers, the sniping, and Molotov cocktails, stuff like that you see in how many games so far. But then what's different from this Mafia game is that they reinitiated or reenacted what happened back in Sicily, Italy, and then bring that to the United States, and then, with the five families. So it's called Kit Act eventually. So
Yeah, so
hopefully.
I mean, if you're a big fan of the Mafia game, Mafia series, this is the next one coming out. Um, and we'll just keep an eye on what happens once it comes out. Do you have anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I just want to say, though, guys, that I'm sorry we got cut off early. I guess I can't talk too much about it in detail because I already talked about it in our previous Mafia related video footage, or not video footage, the episodes we talked about in the past. So you can go back to those episodes and I discuss more about it in detail. So that's all I got to say for the matter. All right, ready to
Okay.
move on.
All right. We only got a couple stories next. Left, I should say.
Sure thing.
Turok is back with Turok Origins, which ditches first person. The new take on the classical shooter series swaps the perspective to third person, but keeps those red glowy arrows. Turok is coming back. At the Game Awards, Saber Interactive announced Turok Origins, the first new entry in the Turok franchise since 2008. The debut trailer set the mood with a cinematic flair and some snippets of gameplay showing one major shift from the older games, a third-person perspective. In this game, you'll be one of the Turok warriors facing off against both vicious dinosaurs and an alien threat. You'll use weapons like bows, shotguns, and plasma rifles. Collecting DNA upgrades your power suit, giving you a sharper look as well as skill upgrades and new abilities. And as the trailer teases, you'll be able to team up with your friends to take on the dino threat. The brief snippet of gameplay showed the third-person perspective against rampaging dinosaurs, which looked unlike Horizon. Turok was one of the first shooters I ever played, said Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Kirch in the announcement. When we looked at game franchises that we felt deserved to be brought back, Turok was at the top of our list. At Saber, we love taking classic IP and combining it with fresh gameplay. We are excited to finally announce the game, but we'll be even happier when we deliver this old-school experience with modern-day execution. Turok Origins will come to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. So there's only one comment by Nintendians. Looks awful, and the futuristic feel to the character looks awful too. They didn't have a link to the trailer, though.
I saw the trailer Turok 1, the Turok reboot, whatever it's called.
So anyway, how do you feel about them bringing Turok back? Did you want it back? Did you not care about it? Have you ever played any of the Turok games?
If I recall correctly, and that's been like 25 years almost now, goddamn. But it's I never played the first Turok on the N64, but I do have a copy on the N64 of Turok 2, Seeds of Evil. So that game was challenging, not as challenging as fuck, but it was challenging. I'm stuck on the first level still, where I had to find some sort of portal to open and unlock to find the key to unlock the door in order to get to that portal. Like, this is what I was told by my friends in the past, if I remember correctly. So I was always stuck on those levels without the strategy guide books and all. Because before the internet, the internet existed back then, obviously, but I didn't have much access to it directly until if I had to go to the library, for the matter. We didn't have internet at home as much because it's so expensive to pay for minute by minute or the hour by hour rate of the internet back then. So anyway, the Turok I played before in the past, at least the Turok 2 as mentioned. I saw the trailer of the reboot of Turok Origins, or if it's called a reboot itself, but it's stitching the first person to the third person, and I don't mind it. I saw the gameplay of it, or at least it seems like it's gameplay. It's all right. I personally like to stick with first person with Turok though, with using the bow and arrow and all, especially if they go based on the Turok 1 game from the 1990s. So It looks good at first. At first, it's different graphic settings, different dynamics, and all. So, how they'll stick with the same um, surroundings or the same style that you see in the first two Turok games. I heard the third Turok game wasn't all that great really. So if they can make up for that third Turok game for this Turok game coming out the next year, that'll be great. And I want to buy it on the Xbox One if it's going to be an Xbox One. And if not, it can be on the Series X and S or PC. So it's take it from there.
Okay. Well, I have played the first Turok Dinosaur Hunter on N64. I did own that game.
Nice.
I never got far in it. I maybe made it to level 2 or level 3. Most likely level 2. So I never played Seeds of Evil. I never played the story. I just played the multiplayer because one of my older brother's friends had the game, and he bought it over for an N60 to play N64, and I was able to play multiplayer then, being one of the 4 players. And then I didn't play any Turok until the 360 game. I don't know what people hated about the 360 game, but whatever they did with the 360 version, don't bring it back into this one. First person to third person doesn't really bother me. I probably would prefer third person anyway, but hopefully they have like first person view, like if you're like when Dr. Gabe's once said, when you're aiming say you're aiming a bow and arrow, you want to be able first person view would be better, at least when you're pulling an arrow back, and then just hopefully make the rest of the game third person. I'm saying just have first person view in there so you can line up your shots and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, I like the dinosaurs, always have. I don't know how I feel about this alien threat that's supposed to be in the game. Because the first Turok Dinosaur Hunter was dinosaurs and soldiers, I think. They weren't aliens because they were shooting you with guns. I mean, So yeah, I don't know how I feel about this alien threat that's also going to be enemies. I guess I'll have to wait until wait to see how it's executed, because that's going to mean everything.
Right.
But yeah, I've been a big fan of the Turok series since it came out on N64. So yeah, they're giving Turok another chance. I love that.
That's good.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
We can move on now.
All right, last story for tonight. Capcom focusing on reviving other franchises after Okami 2 and new Unimusha reveals. Time to bring the Blue Bomber out of retirement? The 2000s called, and Capcom answered last week by unveiling new entries in the Okami and Unimusha series. But the company didn't seem done yet with bringing back old franchises. In fact, Capcom states it's focusing on reactivating dormant IPs alongside brand new titles going forward. A Capcom press release highlighting the reveals of Okami 2 and Unimusha: Way of the Sword at the Game Awards offers insight into the publisher's plans for the future. In addition to regularly releasing major new titles each year, Capcom is focusing on reactivating dormant IPs that haven't had a new title launch recently. The company is working to further enhance corporate value by leveraging its rich library of content, which includes reviving past IPs like Okami 2 and Unimusha: Way of the Sword, in order to continuously produce highly efficient, high-quality titles. Okami 2, referred to as Okami Sequel Project by Capcom, will see the return of the original's director with Hideki Kamiya. Okami originally was launched for PS2 in 2006, and the series did get a follow-up in 2010, 2011 for North America, with Okamiden for Nintendo DS. There is no release window for the Okami Sequel Project. Meanwhile, Unimusha Way of the Sword is set to arrive in 2026 on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. It's the first new entry in the mainline series since 2006 Unimusha Dawn of Dreams for PS2. It's not necessarily new for Capcom to note that it's looking into old franchises to revisit. By the way, in 2019, Capcom discussed intentions to utilize dormant franchises. In addition, earlier this year, the company insisted Mega Man hasn't been forgotten, meaning the Blue Bomber could possibly see a return alongside Okami in the years ahead. So let's look at comments. Let's see. Hell Without Sin goes Breath of Fire, please. Simulator underscore shock says in response, yes, I'm very surprised that Capcom hadn't tested the waters yet by making a BOF collection on Steam and consoles. And Brixicano goes, Code Veronica, Dino Crisis, let's go, PP. Or PPL. Yeah, I thought those were exclamation points. Okay, so Code Veronica, Dino Crisis, let's go, people.
Mm-hmm.
What game franchises, if any, from Capcom would you like to see them try again? If you have any.
Right now, I heard that they're gonna do a Dino Crisis in the future, right? So it's hopefully.
Well, no, someone was hoping that they'd do a Dino Crisis.
That'd be nice though. After all these decades now, it's been 20 years almost since the last the Dino Crisis game, which is Dino Crisis 3 or Dino Crisis 4, I think it was. But I played the first Dino Crisis on the Dreamcast. I still have my copy and Dreamcast system to this day. Unfortunately, the Dino Crisis copy of Dreamcast is scratched up severely to the point I can't play on it. So it sucks. But I did bought the first and second Dino Crisis on PS1. So, and I heard Dino Crisis 2 was okay to play. You know, it wasn't. I mean, it's the same set in the same format. Go up against the T-Rex and all. That was pretty cool in Dino Crisis 1 especially. But what I hate about Dino Crisis 1 back then, I don't know about Dino Crisis 2, but Dino Crisis 1, what I hate about that was the fucking puzzles, those codes, oh my god, it was complex as fuck, James, Triple J. It's crazy. It's like you have to memorize, you have to make sure to go back and forth where you get the codes and also with the panels and all. And one of the puzzles was involved with the tubing to connect the sewage system or some sort of compressor system where it involves valves and different intricates of the pipes and all, with this color, with that color, blue, green, red, you name it. It was crazy. I think the first time I did that, it took me about 30 minutes to make sure I got it right. And I was like 12 years old when it happened. So I can't imagine if I could do it right now. I might be better at it. But, man, it was a good experience to play Dino Crisis 1, my friend. And, I hope they'll put that same set-in format, those difficulties formatted in, because obviously in today's world, most games will now hold your hand and tell you what to do in the games in detail now. It's lackluster sometimes. And it's okay for some, for certain gamers, if you want to put that in. But for the hardcore, long-time players from the 2000s, a lot of us gamers will definitely play the next Dino Crisis game by far, yes. Especially if it's on the Xbox, PC, PS5, If they put it on PC, that'd be great. I just get to see upgrade to a different PC, that's all. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking over the list of games that or IPs that Capcom owns. So what I would like to see, and I'm probably in the minority on this, I would love to see them bring back Final Fight.
Ooh.
In some way. I'd also would love to see them do Resident Evil, maybe Code Veronica 2. If they, I don't know how Code Veronica's story ends. I've tried to beat it. I just haven't been able to.
If you played the X version, it was way better ending.
Okay. So. But I'm just saying, there's got to be a way that the story can continue.
It's the cubes. You forgot the cube. You got to bring the cube from the first disc of the Dreamcast version onto the disc 2. That's what you forgot to bring, my friend. From the cube from Ashford's base in that prison basement, whatever it's called. That's what you forgot to do. because you have to have the
Okay, well,
cube in order to continue.
it's just I've died before getting to that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Then. All right. Excuse me.
It's not that I don't know what to do. Uh, it's just, uh, it's just I haven't gotten far enough in the times I have played it. But
Uh,
I'm always willing to give it another chance on my Xbox One. Um,
yeah, it should be easier for you right now to play because we've gotten older, we memorize shit, and if you get done within like not even like 5 minutes of the countdown at the when you go out against that first boss, but the fucking tall ass motherfucking boss, you be fine.
yeah, well, I had the thing where you had to get the code by like using this dial, but then like the enemy comes into that office.
Mm.
Unfortunately, Claire was on danger, so I couldn't like that dial thing opens like a secret passage like in the wall, but then like the monster comes in the office, and I just couldn't get around the monster, and I had no like I went as far back as I could in the game, and there were like no herbs or anything,
Mm.
so that's as far as I made it. Um, and maybe although I really wouldn't care about this, I know they've done something recently with it. Maybe Street Fighter, maybe like a collection with like all the fighters from the past decades, if they can.
Well, they have the Street Fighter collection that came out 3 4 years ago, at
Okay,
least.
well they have that. So yeah, but I would love to see something like Final Fight. Just a good old side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Okay.
Um,
But I see
in
you also
addition,
mentioned from earlier. I see you also mentioned about the Capcom focusing on the other games like the Okami 2 and Doom, Oni Musha game.
Unimusha.
Yeah, I did. I heard good things about Okami. One, I played it with my mom's friend's niece. We played that for a couple of hours. That was a pretty good experience. I call it Okaname, but whatever. But also Onimusha. I heard good things about that game. I actually bought the original version back for it was on the PS2 Xbox. Well, they had it on the Xbox store for about not even like $10 on sale. So I bought that copy. And I didn't play it yet, but I heard good things about the game. So I was like, let me play that soon later on my library. So yeah, that's a good experience I hear. So cannot wait for this new game coming out. So that in the meantime, while that game's coming out next year or so, I'll make time for the original game and to play that for the meantime. So
All right. Yeah. So anyway, that was the final story we had for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. This was the last episode for the 2024. We will be back in 2025 on January 4th, Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Dr. Games 101, do you have anything you plan to do tomorrow or in the next couple of weeks before the next episode?
yeah, so I'm still continuing to play more Cyberpunk 2077. It should be part 6 for next week, or technically speaking, in the next few days or so. I also plan on doing more gameplay of Chrono Trigger. I haven't played that game with you guys in at least 3 years now. You should still see an old gameplay of it on my main channel. I know it's a mess on my main channel where you saw the political stuff and all. I know it's a horrible mess I've made over the years and all. After my first ever gaming channel back in 2015, 2016 and all. But long story short, everything's on my gaming channel. You see the newest recent gameplay and I did of Return, and then other games like Saving Princess Sarah and all, which I'll continue to do more of that sometime next year with you guys. Also, I might do more of Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus next year too. So it's gonna be interesting. Several weeks to months ahead of time, guys. So that's all I'll be doing for now.
Okay. Yeah, I might be getting into Let's Play videos instead of streams. It's just videos I can record and put up when I can. Streams, you don't have to wait for a specific time to start. And then if you're too tired after, you. So I might be shifting to Let's Play videos instead of streams from now on, or at least for the time being. But right now, I'm just getting used to my new schedule because my personal schedule changed, my work schedule changed, so it's basically just getting used to a new routine, basically. for me. But also, my power strip died. So the only console that I can play until I get a new power strip is Xbox One. So anything on Xbox One or my or that's compatible, uh, um, that I can play on Xbox One, um, is the only thing I can play right now. But I do plan to get a new power strip, and then I'll be able to play my retro systems. Um, but like I said, it's just everything happening at once. So
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to replace that, the power strip and all. We should find a cheaper version online somewhere.
well, I'm gonna get the same one I had, so I can plug all my consoles into it because this power strip lasted me like 12, 13 years of continuous use. So
Yeah, if you can find the same brand, that'd be great because now these knockoff brands are on Amazon now. They've been like cheaper than the quality of the products now these days on the
well, I
electronics.
purchased this power strip from Amazon, so I was able to find it in my purchase history.
That's good
So
because I'm hearing
I
that
don't know. I don't know. I did ask my cousin if she could get one when she was asking for Christmas ideas. I don't know if she got me one, which is why I didn't want to order one myself. So like after Christmas, I'll be buying one myself. I just don't want to order one and then my cousin to have gotten me one because I even showed her the power strip that I was going to get a couple weeks ago when this happened.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All right.
I didn't. I just didn't want to buy one, and my cousin ended up buying me one.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I would have pulled the trigger on buying one already. So if she didn't get me one, I will, like Christmas night or the next day, order it myself.
All right, guys. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So anyway, until next time. Good night, everyone.
Happy holidays, guys. See you next year. Happy New Year.